Richard Corey.
I think I gasped at the end. Like, these things are not what I expect.
Never, right?
Yeah,
I think your boys will come good, man. People don't know what he was going through. But he carried himself in a good manner every time.
He did.
So
He
he
did.
can't come good.
So, let's look at, some background on the author, Edmund Arlington Robinson. So he was born in 1869. Excuse me, he died in 1935. He was one of the most prolific American poets of the 20th century. And his collected poems, is from my notes, in 1921 won the first Pulitzer Prize for poetry. So he was one of the first people, he won the first Pulitzer Prize for poetry. Now, interestingly enough, and this I think how it ties even with the poem, he is the third son of a wealthy New England merchant. And Richard Corey was what?
Richard
Wealthy.
King?
Yeah, he was wealthy. Actually, Robinson's father did not encourage his son's literary pursuits, okay? But eventually, he just allowed him to go ahead and do them. The author was also a heavy drinker, and he basically died in 1935 in the hospital with cancer. So he was a very heavy drinker, and most of his works discuss failed lives, although several critics see them as life-affirming. I don't know how suicide is life-affirming, but nonetheless. So that's a little bit about the author. So the poem was written in 1897, as it states on page 783. Who is the speaker in the poem, or in this case, who are the speakers?
It's the people who are watching it.
The townspeople, absolutely. So would you say this is written in third person?
No.
And maybe it's omniscient, right? Because you have a whole bunch of people sort of talking as a collective group. Although it's not, it's probably limited third person. Why? Well, they also know he went home and committed suicide. So it sort of balances on both of them.
Wouldn't it be first person? Because it says in 784 it says we.
We. So meaning we, a collective bunch of people that were looking at him. But you're right. But I think it's more of the perspective of the townspeople speaking as a collective, because typically we is first and second person, like Desire and I, we. But Corey wasn't definitely a speaker in the poem. It was more people observing him. So I would say this one's funny because normally it's like one person, but it was more than one person who were speaking. Okay, a good observation, Desire. This poem has a rhyme scheme. So it's called alternate rhyme, and basically it's ABAB. So the first line always rhymes with the third line, and the second line always rhymes with the fourth.